Welcome back, I'm Tedward, and it's winter, even though it's bleak and dreary. This is what New England winters are like. It's on and off. It's either 40 degrees and dreary like this, or it's 30 degrees and it's a blizzard. But today, we just have a dreary kind of day, and I want to talk to you about winter preparation on my M3. It's my daily driver, but first, I want you to just listen. I'm going to unlock the door. Listen. Do you notice what you don't hear? You don't hear a fuel pump. It does not prime when you unlock the car. I've had so many people tell me, no, you're stupid. It primes when you unlock the car. It does not. Listen, when I put it in accessory mode before I start the car, there it is. All right, have we dispelled the rumor? You can please stop sending me messages that it primes when you unlock the car. But first, this video is partially supported by Carly, Connected Car. This is incredible because when I do get a check engine light in this BMW M3, all I do is pop in this little dongle. I can keep it in my car, unlike having to carry a big, clunky code reader. I pop it in there, I read the codes, and what I love about this little device and the app is that it gives me all the BMW codes. It doesn't give me generic codes, so when I do see a check engine light, I know exactly what it is. And as a bonus, it's also helpful for registering your battery so you don't have to rely on an expensive dealer to replace it for you. I have had a couple other problems with this car that I did fix, but first I want to talk about the most important thing you need to do for winter preparation if you live in a cold climate. Snow tires. You have to buy winter tires. They don't have to be crazy studded, ice-ready rallycross monsters, but you do need a softer compound. If you were running summer tires on your sports car, on your M3, Pilot Super Sport, a Pilot Sport 4S is just not going to cut it below 40, 45 degrees Fahrenheit. So yes, maybe you live in a place where there isn't heavy snow and you can choose your days, but if the temperatures are consistently low, that's where you need a winter tire. A softer rubber is going to make all the difference in the performance of your tire. So the day after, of course, the day after I got stuck in the snow last week, I put on my Vredestein Windtrack Pros. I'm really in love with these tires. I got them from Tire Rack. I would have been wary of testing out a new brand. I think tires, oh God, I'm so brand loyal to things like that because it's a long-term investment. It's something that like, oh, I'm not gonna risk a tire. I'm gonna have to use it for 30,000 miles. So anyway, I talked to the guys at Tire Rack and they convinced me on these Vredesteins, and I'm really happy I did go for these because they are phenomenal. It is no compromise. Normally, there's a huge penalty box in the winter because you have to put on your winter rubber, and it's a bummer because you lose control of the car. It doesn't handle as well. You know, you turn the wheel, there's a delay because you're waiting for those big, thick treads to mush over this big fat sidewall. It's a whole thing, and it sucks. It just feels like your fun car is in the penalty box all winter long. Regardless of what you choose, you should choose some sort of snow tire, some sort of winter tire that's going to be appropriate for the type of driving that you do. And don't be fooled by the folks who say you just need snow tires on the drive wheels. If you have a front wheel drive car and you only put winter tires on the front, you're fooling yourself. You're gonna lose the rear end. You're going to lose control. You need to have 4 winter tires. The next thing I do before winter really hits is I order some oil and sensors that I may need to replace. Yes, it's a BMW. Sometimes you're replacing sensors from FCP Euro because I don't like working in my cold garage. So I try to get some of this stuff out of the way before the snow really hits for 2 reasons. 1, like I said, cold garage, not fun to do oil changes in. 2, once winter's really in the thick of it, the roads are salty, everything's slushy, it's below freezing, your car's just a mess, it's gross, and it's just not a pleasant experience. And I noticed after my last oil change that my oil level sensor had stopped working. So yeah, I changed the oil in the car, and BMW M3s do not have a physical dipstick because they are dipsticks, very annoying. But there's this oil conditioner sensor that goes up in the bottom of the oil pan, and that's how it reads out your oil level. When it's up to temperature and you're level enough, it'll start to tell you where you're at. But instead of doing what it's supposed to do, it just showed me the little spinny wheel, the little clock going around and around and around, and it never read. And then eventually it would just say unable to read at this time and give me the little dashes. Yay, BMW problems. So the problem with this is, unlike other sensors, which are just accessible and you can pop them out and pop them in, this oil sensor is in the oil pan, which means that in order to replace it, you basically have a giant hole in the bottom of your oil pan. Yes, so if you don't do it during an oil change, then you're doing a new oil change. So this time I had a little bit of foresight, and when I ordered my oil from FCP Euro, I also ordered this sensor, and it was very easy to replace. I was worried about it because I was afraid that it wasn't going to seal up properly. So it does in fact come with a gasket on it already. If you're going to be replacing this sensor, this one has worked well for me. I did order a second gasket in the event that the original gasket was damaged or just didn't look good, but when I looked at it, the black gasket looked okay. So I got under there after I drained my oil. I waited for the engine to cool. So I did my oil change when it was hot, and then I waited for it to cool before I replaced the sensor. The sensor was super easy to replace. All I did was pull out 3 little bolts, and I pried it off and disconnected it, and out it comes. You pop in the new one, but you're gonna want to just do a little bit of surface abrasion on that oil pan to make sure there's a nice clean surface for that gasket to mate to. I even put a little bit of oil on the gasket. Not sure if that helped or not, but let's say it did. My M3 is up to 94,000 miles now, and I've done some track days in it. I've certainly enjoyed the car. I've babied it in the sense that I do the maintenance. Now, maybe I have the brake light on because I don't replace the pad wear sensors, but that is not like mechanically important. So if you do own one of these cars, yes, you can get them to last a long time if you do the maintenance. You want to do your rod bearings, you want to make sure that it's just healthy and that you're putting fresh oil in it regularly. You're not running it into the ground. One gauge that we don't use enough in our cars is the exterior temperature gauge. You should always be looking at that thermometer around this time of year. Now, a lot of cars are going to come up and give you a warning and say, hey, it's gonna snow. They'll put up a little snowflake light, or it'll just bring. Unfortunately, in the BMW, it's the same sound as a check engine light coming on as it is when it tells you, hey, look out, it's below 37 degrees. So you freak out every time it happens, but that's your friend, because when you're driving on these temperatures, you need to know, are my tires going to be capable? Is this road treated already? Because even if you've got good winter tires, ice is ice. And I know this isn't winter prep, but please, 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 when it snows, wipe the snow off your car. Don't go out and drive with a big pile of snow on it. These guys in these big trucks do this all the time because they can't reach it, or they say they can't reach it. They just don't want to do it. It sucks because if it gets really cold, that snow turns to ice. It falls off in a sheet, and it'll just go through people's windshields, through their headlights. You cause a lot of damage. You could kill people like that. So please, don't be that guy or girl. Just take the snow off your car, please. Please do that for me. I also bought some new differential fluid from FCP Euro. I think it's time for a service. I'm going to be doing that in the next week or so. Looking forward to having some fresh oil in the diff. That's not a component that I want to mess with. I don't really want my diff to blow up because I've just pushed it too hard. I can't believe how much grip these have in the cold. If those are my Pilot Sport 4S's, there's no way we could launch like that. All right, another thing you should definitely check your coolant. I'm not just saying check the level, check the mix. Remember, coolant is antifreeze. You do not want your radiator to be filled with water, or if over time you've just been slowly adding water to the mix and you forgot that your 50-50 mix is now a 10-90 mix and it's mostly water and it's only going to sustain temperatures slightly below freezing, right? You need to check. You can use the little spectrometer guy or the old school bobber guy where you like pull it up and it floats and tells you, the little needle tells you where it is. Yeah, definitely just check. Have your mechanic check if you don't know how to do this, but you don't want to be caught by surprise when you've basically busted out all those channels in your motor and your radiator is cracked open because it's a block of ice. And that doesn't just go for the dailies, that goes for your track cars as well. I know you're probably just storing them in a barn or in your garage, and those are going to see very low temperatures too. But if you are running water in those cooling systems, whether it's your motorcycle or your track car, don't forget about it. Don't forget about it, because you can have a lot more track prep for the next season if you've busted out all the freeze plugs. So remember, winter tires, not just for snow. You gotta have some sort of code reader. I recommend the Carly, so you know what's going on and you're not taken by surprise. Also, it's small, fits in the car. And of course, thanks to my friends at FCP Euro for, keeping my M3 running strong into, hopefully, 100,000 plus miles, because I don't really have any plans to sell it, and I would like to continue tracking this car and dailying it despite the miserable fuel economy. So thank you so much for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing. Don't forget to respect the drive, get some winter tires, put those headlights on in inclement weather. I mean, come on, man. Seriously, people don't put their headlights on, and I'll see you in the next one.